We have major breaking news out of NPR today. A federal judge has blocked Donald Trump and his administration, rightfully, legally, and constitutionally, from ending the rightfully legal, lawful protections for Venezuelan migrants against deportations. Why? Well, let's just figure that reason out and break it down in today's legal breaking analysis reporting video by, like I said, NPR. The article is titled, Judge Pauses Trump Administration Plans to End Deportation Protection for Venezuelans. And ladies and gentlemen, the article reads, San Francisco Associated Press. A federal judge on Monday paused plans by the Trump administration to end temporary legal protections for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans a week before they were scheduled to expire. The order by U.S. District Judge Edward Chen in San Francisco is a relief for 350,000 Venezuelans whose temporary protected status was set to expire April 7, after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem reversed protections granted by the Biden administration. Chen said in his ruling that the action by Noem threatens to inflict irreparable harm on hundreds of thousands of persons whose lives, families, and livelihoods will be severely disrupted, cost the United States billions in economic activities, and ensure public health and safety in communities through the United States. He said the government had failed to identify any real countervailing harm in continuing TPS for Venezuelan beneficiaries, and said plaintiffs will likely succeed in showing that Noem's actions are unauthorized by law, arbitrary, and capricious, and motivated by unconstitutional animus. Chen, who was appointed to the bench by former President, my editorials note, Barack Obama, a Democrat, said his order in the lawsuit brought by the National DPS Alliance applies nationally. Noem had also announced the end of TPS for an estimated 250,000 Venezuelans in September. The judge also gave the government 1 week to file notice of an appeal and the plaintiffs 1 week to pause for 500,000 Haitians whose TPS protections are set to expire in August. Alexandro Maracas, who's the previous secretary, had extended protections for all for all 3 cohorts into 2026. Today is a day for the migrant community, today is the day for the, today is the day, is a good day for the migrant community in this country. Pablo Alexandra said, who's the co-executive director for the National Day Laborer Organizing Network. He said that people fleeing war-torn El Salvador, who initially benefited from the TPS program, fought to maintain protections that came to include countries such as Ukraine, Sudan, and Syria, and the broader community must continue fighting. It takes so much courage to come forward and say, here I am, and I'm going to fight for this, Alberto said. We're not going to throw anyone under the bus. We're going to fight for everyone because everyone is deserving. The Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Congress created TPS as the law is known in 1990 to prevent deportations to countries suffering from natural disasters or civil strife, giving people authorization to live and work in the United States in increments of up to 18 months if the United States Homeland Security Secretary deems conditions in their home countries are unsafe to return. The reversals are a major about-face from immigration policies under former President Joe Biden, a Democrat, and came as Republican President Donald Trump and his top aides have ratcheted up attacks on judges who rule against them, with immigration being at the forefront of many disagreements. At the hearing last Monday, lawyers for TPS holders said that NOAM has no authority to cancel protections and that her actions were motivated in part by racism. They asked the judge to pause NOAM's orders, citing the irreparable harm to TPS holders struggling with fear of deportation and potential separation from family members. Government lawyers for Noam said that Congress gave the Secretary clear and broader authority to make determinations related to the TPS program and that the decisions were not subject to judicial review. Plaintiffs have no right to thwart the Secretary's orders from being carried out, they said. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a flat-out lie. Yet again, like always, they're lying. Congress did not give the Secretary broader authority. Hence, the plaintiffs and lawyers do as in accordance to the rule of law have the right to do so. Continuing with the article. But Chen found the government's arguments unpersuasive and said that numerous derogatory and false comments by Noam and by Trump against Venezuelans as criminals show that racial animus was a motivatory in ending protections. Actions on the basis of a negative group stereotype and generalizing such stereotype to the entire group is the the classic example of racism, he wrote. Biden sharply expanded use of TPS and other temporary forms of protections in a strategy to create and expand legal pathways to live in the United States while suspending asylum for those who enter illegally. Trump has questioned the impartiality of a federal judge who blocked his plan to deport Venezuelan immigrants to El Salvador, leveling his criticism only hours before his administration asked an appeals court to lift the judge's order. Lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, the appeals court did not lift Judge Boasberg's order deporting Venezuelan migrants. They, in fact, kept it in place, which is obviously going to lead to legal ramifications because Donald Trump illegally, and I say illegally because he did it despite the order, it's going to legally lead to ramifications because Donald Trump is doing it despite the orders being upheld and in place, upheld by the Ninth Circuit Court and issued by Judge Boasberg. Hence, we have a rogue administration here on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, that in fact does not deserve to legally be in the White House. Continuing with the last paragraph to the article. The administration has also said it was revoking temporary protections for more than 530,000 Cuban, Haitian, Norwegians, and Nicaraguans and Venezuelans who have come to the United States since October 2022 through another legal avenue called humanitarian parole, which Biden used more than any other president. Their 2-year work permits will expire April 24th. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's legal breaking analysis reporting by NPR. If you did enjoy this legal breaking analysis reporting by NPR, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, as well as if you want to make sure you never miss a brand new legal breaking reporting, please do feel free to hit that bell icon that is right next to the subscribe button directly below on the right hand side of the subscribe button. Another way you guys can make sure you never miss a brand new legal breaking reporting and analysis video is by following me on my social medias down below. That'll be linked along with a very important vital news article link to this reporting by NPR. There you guys can be updated instantly when I post a brand new legal breaking analysis reporting. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, please help me reach and achieve the goal of 150 plus subscribers. The reason why I'm saying 150 plus subscribers, is because right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 subscribers, we have more subscribers to reach and achieve right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 subscribers. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, until my next reporting, that is going to do it for today's video. In the meantime, please stay positive, stay safe, and know that justice will prevail on the correct side of the law despite Donald Trump and his illegal administration's illegal, unconstitutional efforts and behaviors and executive orders.